Like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show, weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
We can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillars. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to live?
Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out to hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media, and you don't have to worry about it because you're going to have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you've already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead, hit that like button, because you already know what time it is, and you know that this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you at this point. You've seen other people do it. You've seen other people do it well, but what you have not seen is anyone do it quite the way I do it. So make sure you hit that like button, and everyone, yes, everyone, take a moment out to share the content, y'all. There are so many people who need to get great content like this, and it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course we do. So share the content out. Share it through your social media. Share it through word of mouth, or even text someone's phone. But do what you got to do to help spread the word. All right, folks, today we are back for another great episode. Today is an anniversary, y'all. So we're going to do this episode because it's an anniversary, y'all. It is the anniversary of the O.J. Simpson verdict, y'all. So today we're going to deal with O.J. versus America. The ultimate touchdown 30 years later, okay? The ultimate touchdown 30 years later. All right, y'all. This should be a fantastic show. But before we go too deep into this one, first thing I want to do is give credit where credit is due, y'all. First of all, I want to say I appreciate everybody who comes to the channel and give me views, you know, on a regular basis. You know, when unfortunately, I've lost some channel. When you start a channel again, you never know how people gonna respond. All you can do is hope. So shout out to everybody who coming through, giving me the views. Even the people that hate watch, shout out to y'all too. Shout out to everybody who come through and hit that like button, y'all. That's very critical that you hit the like button. No matter how old a stream is, hit that like button. And shout out to everybody who leaves comment after the stream, because they definitely help with the algorithm and things like that. So you're helping spread things around. So appreciate you. And shout out to the people who go above and beyond. The people I like to refer to as the sponsors of the stream. And there's always a good one, always a real one. And today, the sponsor of today's stream is The Real Dog. Okay, The Real Dog is the sponsor of today's stream. And y'all remember, big or small, I appreciate it all, y'all. Big or small, I appreciate it all. Now, I do believe that was Red Pill Super Sale. I could be wrong, but I believe that was him. But shout out to The Real Dog, whoever you may be. Shout out to The Real Dog. Always glad to have you. Always glad to have you. And let me give a few shout outs to some of the first people to check in this morning. Because y'all, it's always great that when you start the show, you see people checking on in. Let it be known that they are in the building. But y'all know how it goes. There can only be one. And I'm going to say shout out to the one today. Inspired Truth Broadcast is what we like to call the Highlander of today's stream. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you being here, y'all. And y'all, I get it. I get it. If you ain't got you a Highlander yet, you better keep on trying. Okay, you got to keep on trying. Now, sometimes I put this stuff out and people be trying to come way early. It ain't going to work for you. You're going to have to get up in the morning, put your bid in, and get what you need to get. That's the only way it's going to work for you. That's the only way it's going to work. Shout out to my main man, Bootcamp, following him up. Glad to see you. Glad to see you. We got Floyd Thompson checking in as well. My main man, Trail Bentley, is in the building, representing like he always does. Hashtag long live the habitual line steppers. Hashtag Negroes in the wilderness. Hashtag dignity over vagina. Hashtag Hell Hydra. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. Shout out to the righteous teacher. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. We got Brad Iverson here. And Brad, you know, we lost some channels, man. So we got the super chat to be on soon. It'll be on soon, but we got to build back up. We building back up. So, you know, appreciate the thought, though. Appreciate the thought. Y'all, he said, Roger, I can't super chat. I appreciate the thought, but you know what? It'll take a slight minute, but we almost there. We almost there. And shout out to the man who helps keep a lot of things in order, y'all. A great right-hand man. My main man, Chef Mike's Roundtable, is in the building. Always great to see him. Always great to see him. Appreciate you, Big Bro. Appreciate you. Shout out to Mr. Suge, to you. The Saute Sheriff is in the house. What's going on, my brother? What's going on? Superstar Jay Quick is in the building. Great to see you. Great to see you. All my hoes, the monetizers here. What's popping? What's popping? Shout out to Shark Sims. He done pulled up a seat at the cool table. Great to see you, brother. Great to see you. Y'all, and we about to get into it, y'all. It is the anniversary, y'all. The 30-year anniversary of the O.J. Simpson trial coming to its conclusion. The verdict was read 30 years ago today. And you can see some things a little differently or a little more clear sometimes when you have hindsight. And I'm going to say, man, this was the greatest touchdown in NFL history. Yes, it happened off the field. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. But it was the greatest touchdown in NFL history. This is a day that America should be extremely proud of. Now, I'm not saying America's proud of this day. It should be a day that America's extremely proud of. They ain't. I'm going to say that. They ain't, y'all. They definitely ain't. It should be the day they're proud of, but they ain't. Now, why aren't they proud of this day? Because American society pushes the hatred of black men. And you know what? As great as OJ was beloved at the time, no matter what you do, no matter what God gives you as gifts, you know, the height, the strength, the will to work out, the will to make it in a very tough situation, y'all. We talking about a guy who could actually make it into the NFL. And let's be real about this, y'all. These folks, they get some gifts, okay? It's just OJ gifts came from a physical form, you know, came from a physical form. He's gifted. Okay, he was able to make it in the NFL, sustain a career in the NFL, break records in the NFL, set standards in the NFL. He just wasn't a guy playing football, People try to make it out that way sometime, but this was not just a man playing football. This was a man that was showing greatness all over the place. And you know what? The man was a movie star. The man was in all type of commercials. The man was endorsing products. The man was bankable, y'all. All you had to do was put a little OJ on that, and you was bankable all of a sudden. Okay? Real talk. Real talk. Okay? So, way back when, them 30 years ago, when OJ got framed for murder, okay? Yeah, OJ got framed for murder. Okay? These are the facts, y'all. It came out during the trial that OJ was framed for murder. And America had to do something that is not really known for. Not really known for. But America, well, they had to have a trial. We known for that. We known for that. Okay. OJ had to be tried by a jury of his peers. Okay. That happens sometime. Remember, y'all, 90% of the conviction and above are always something that's settled without going to trial. Okay. Usually ain't no trial. But trials can happen. Trials can happen. And OJ took it upon himself to say, you know what? I'm not just going to accept this frame job that y'all putting on me. I ain't going to accept it. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stand up in the face of this nonsense. I'm going to stand up in the face of white America. And I'm going to say, not guilty. Okay. Not an easy thing to do for anybody, y'all. Because if you know anything about the American legal system, when you're a black man, I don't care if you're rich. I don't care if you're famous. I don't care if you got the support of people or whatever the case is. You just a nigga once you get inside that courtroom. And that's just all it comes down to. And America showed that no matter what you were, once you get inside that courtroom, you still just a nigga. And you know what? Shout out to everybody who was a part of this trial of the century. Because I will say, the OJ case was literally the trial of that century. It literally was. Okay. That trial had a whole lot of great stuff going on. And man, the way it came to a conclusion. It was a celebration. It was a celebration, y'all. When that trial concluded, y'all remember all that celebrating that was going on? But you know what? It wasn't just a celebration. A whole lot of folks thought it was a terrible day. Okay? For as many as people that was celebrating the fantastic job that happened on that day, it was far more people hating the job that was done that day. Okay? No matter what, y'all, America showed itself in a way that it tries not to show itself so overtly on an everyday level. Because I'm not going to say America did something different that day, other than the fact the overtness of how America operates. The people of America said, what? What they say? Because what happened? The verdict was read, y'all. The verdict was read. OJ was found not guilty. Now, let's look into this. Since this is the 30th anniversary of that not guilty, okay? The 30th. Let's think about this, y'all. How did this go down in America? How did this go down? OJ went to trial. Okay, it literally was the trial of the century. Okay, people stopped what they was doing. Okay, they said it wasn't no crime for 2 hours. Y'all hear me? They say it wasn't no crime for 2 hours because people was set on the television trying to see what was about to pop off with this OJ decision. People waiting for the verdict. What's finna happen? Is he guilty? Is he not guilty? people had started, making their decisions on, was he guilty? Was he not guilty? We just waiting on the jurors to hear what the jury say. But the people was coming to their own conclusion. Is he guilty? Is he not guilty? Is he guilty? Is he not guilty? And guess what? A whole lot of white people, by the truckloads was saying, that nigga's guilty. Y'all know the beautiful part about that? Let me just, if I can take you back down memory lane just a little bit. It was a beautiful thing, right? It was a beautiful thing. Because think about it, y'all. It wasn't just some random dude on trial. No, it was juice. Okay? The juice was loose, y'all. Wasn't just some random dude. Who was the juice? If you're somehow too young to know who the juice was, OJ was that dude. That's who OJ was. OJ was the man that was helping take football to higher levels. Okay, OJ was the pitch man. They done figured out we can put a nigga in front of a product, and that nigga will move a product. Yeah, that's how the corporate people saw it. This nigga will move a product. Let's attach our products to this nigga. Okay? Now, do y'all understand what people had to do way back when to say and to accept that this nigga can move a product? And OJ didn't just move one product here or there. It wasn't like some local barbershop. No, OJ was doing big deals. OJ was doing big deals, nationwide deals. Okay? That nigga changed the game. Okay? That nigga changed the game. So these corporations had to say, you know what? We gonna have to work with this nigga. Okay? If we want to stay on top or we want to get to the top, we're gonna have to work with us some niggas. And OJ was the main nigga to work with. Okay? And OJ was beloved, y'all. Let's not forget how beloved OJ was across America. Now, I understand people will always say baseball was the American pastime, but football definitely was doing this thing. Okay, football was definitely doing this thing. Them white folks knew who OJ was. Okay, they knew who he was. Them white folks, depending upon who they was rooting for, they was either glad OJ was a part of what they had going on, or they couldn't stand the fact that they had to go against OJ. But them white folks knew who OJ was. Now, it's one thing to say the black folks knew he was, but them white folks knew who OJ was. Okay? He was a nigga that was loved, while he was a nigga that was hated at the same time. But sports can do that to a lot of folks. It can do that to a lot of folks. So it's just another beautiful day in Hollywood. You know? And all of a sudden, some news comes out. What's that news? Somebody done died, y'all. They ain't just died. They got killed. Who got killed? Uh-oh. It's a white woman. Y'all know how America can get down when a white woman get killed. Okay? America know how to get down when a white woman get killed. So a white woman done got killed. Okay? Now, should that have been a surprise that a white woman got killed? I'm not going to say it should have been a surprise. Okay? There's always rumors out there. There's always rumors out there sometime when you hear things and you got to assess, could the rumor even be true? Because there was some rumors about what Nicole Brown Sis Simpson was into. There was some rumors out there, y'all. There was some rumors out there. You know, I'm not going to debate if the rumors were true or not, but they say she like that smack, y'all. That's what they say. I ain't saying it's true. I ain't saying it's true. But they say Nicole like to get smacked up. Okay? That's what they say about Nicole. Okay? I know Nicole. I wasn't out there with Nicole. Shout out to Maggie Thompson under the veil. Always great to see you, Maggie. Always great to see you. Y'all, they say Nicole was smacked up. Now, yeah, that's a double entendre, y'all. Because they say she like that smack. And other people was claiming that she was getting smacked up by OJ. All right. Now I'm gonna say, from what I know, OJ had a wife at a time that was Nicole Brown's sister. They ended up separating. OJ, he a black man. Black men don't like to break up with nobody. Let's keep it real. Black men don't like to break up with nobody. This was going on even back then, y'all. So you telling me OJ wanted to leave Nicole? I'm not gonna say that happened. I ain't gonna say that happened. Okay. Now, what's convenient? If Nicole is on that smack, it's very convenient to blame OJ for smacking her up. How you know? People on smack go through some things, y'all. People on smack go through some things. And that's real talk. Okay. Now they had some children together and everything, y'all. Nicole was doing her thing. Nicole was out there, y'all. She was in them streets at the time. She had some young man that was accompanying her to different things and whatnot. Somebody named Ron Goldman. Okay. Now, what kind of guy was Ron Goldman? I don't know. Because if your chick got all these rumors going around about how she smacked up, I don't know, man. What am I supposed to believe about a dude who with the chick who with all these rumors around about she dealing with all this smack? Okay, they say she had ties. She was getting drugs off the mob and whatnot. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying what I heard. Okay, I'm just saying what I heard. And if you kicking it with the woman with the mob ties who getting drugs off the mob, that's what the ties, from my understanding. The ties was she used to get drugs from people connected to the mob. How true that is, I don't know. But she came up dead, so it sure looked true. Okay, it looks true. I ain't saying that it is true. I don't know exactly which mob they was trying to blame. But it seemed like somebody was handling their business, okay? Seemed like somebody was handling business. And not only did they say she got killed, they say somebody was trying to take her head off as if they were going to place it somewhere else as a warning to another person. That's what they say, man. I never saw the body. I'm just telling you what they said, okay? I'm just telling you what they said. Now, Nicole, she doing what white women do. They live in life the way they want to live. Now she done got herself killed. She done got her guy friend killed. Okay. But all of a sudden, now it's OJ fault, y'all. All of a sudden, somehow it's OJ fault. Okay. That's how they put it out there, y'all. They blamed OJ. OJ rich. OJ out here living the American dream. But for some reason, they want to blame OJ. All right. And I'm just going to say it was beautiful, y'all, because you could just see if you was living in that time and you did not know the America you was living in. Oh, the white folks showed you. The white folks showed you. They stepped up and showed out that day, y'all. That verdict got dropped. They let you know exactly what time it is. Now, black folks had the good sense to celebrate this man being declared innocent because we watched the trial, y'all. We watched the trial. It's not a theory, y'all. It's not a theory. We literally watched a man who got framed for murder be acquitted for murder. Now, just think about that, y'all. We literally watched a man who was framed for murder get acquitted for murder. Now, you would think that that's a good thing. We live in America, okay? We live in America where they say you have to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Beyond a reasonable doubt. Let's think about that for a moment, y'all. And I've always said before that when white people, white men gonna always give themselves a loophole. They gonna always give themselves a loophole. So now you got to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Okay. You got to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, right? Now, that's just the American way. Now, what is OJ? American. Where did OJ live? In America. Okay. What did OJ elect to do? Take a trial, do it the American way. OJ said, hey, y'all accuse me of this wild stuff. I want my peers to make a decision. Do they really believe I did this or not? That's what I want. I'm OJ, okay? I'm a good man. All right? I done lived the kind of life that America say you're supposed to live. I was able to make something of myself. I use my God-given talents and gifts to edge out a little piece of the American pie. That's all I did, man. I just got my little piece of the pie. I ain't trying to take over America. I ain't trying to be no dictator. I just carved out my little piece of the American pie. That's what I did. But I had to be great to get my piece, y'all. I had to do things that most men would never be able to do. That's what I had to do to get my little piece of the pie. And it ain't like my piece was that big, okay? My piece ain't that big. I got my little piece of the pie, and for some reason, they want me to run down these fields, okay? Do my job as a nigga, okay? Play this game I love, football. They want me to play this game for them. They want me to push their products for them. They want me to be the face of their brands. And all of a sudden, because some white woman dies that I just happen to know, okay, my ex-wife, all of a sudden it's my fault now. We ain't together. I understand people gonna theorize. If you with her, you might have got her. That's a theory that, usually comes up in a situation like this. I'm not the guy with her, man. I'm not the guy with her. Not only am I not the guy with her, okay. Now I understand, hey, the guy with her may not have done it because he ended up dead too. I get that. Okay. So why are we looking at me though? Why are we looking at me? All right. I'm rich. Okay. I'm rich. I ain't got time to be bothered with her like that. Now, this is the thing, y'all. This definitely was the trial of the century. Folks was glued to their TV. We literally saw a black man get framed. Yeah, I really want y'all to think about that. We literally saw a black man get framed. We saw, all this stuff. People, they say OJ was the first reality show. You can make that, you can make a very sound argument for that. Okay. We watched the stories fall apart about how OJ got framed. Okay. We watched it. Now, how do you watch somebody get framed? Yet you want them to get a plea, excuse me, not a plea, but a verdict that says they are guilty. But you white and you love America. Y'all think about that, y'all. Think about that. White men came up with these rules beyond reasonable doubt. White men institute these rules beyond reasonable doubt. White men create their system to do these rules of beyond reasonable doubt. White men saw the system work exactly the way they wanted it to work, but reasonable doubt was brought in. Now, it was brought in by a white man, okay? Then it was exemplified by other white men. You start seeing the attitude of the white man involved. But shout out to Mark Furman, though. Shout out to Mark Furman. Because he said it himself. No, Mark Furman, you ever call somebody a nigga? last 10 years, you ever use that kind of language? You call anybody a nigger out there? Huh? You gonna call anybody a nigger out there? That ER version, that ER version. Okay? You ever call somebody a nigger? My friend would say, look, man, what you talking about? I'm a cop, man. I don't use that type of language. I don't do that type of stuff. I treat people the way they supposed to be treated. Okay? I have a job. I am a pillar of society. I am going to do things the way it's supposed to be done. I'm an example. I'm what little kids should grow up wanting to be. The little kid in the classroom is supposed to want to be a police officer when he grow up one day. He's sitting in the 3rd, 4th grade, and they say, "Wait, what you want to be when you grow up?" I want to be like Mark Furman. That's what I want to do. I want to be like Mark Furman. I want to be a cop. Okay? I want to be a cop. All right. So now America literally watched a man get framed for murder. And America got mad that the man that was framed for murder was not convicted of a murder he was framed for. How racist you got to be to get to that point, y'all? How racist you got to be to watch a man who gets framed for murder get off for a murder that he clearly came out that he was framed for. Now, I understand, y'all. I understand. They've been trying to prove OJ did it since then, y'all. Now, that man was acquitted, but America has put they literally put millions of dollars into trying to convince people that OJ did. They done put millions of dollars into this. Television shows, movies, documentaries. How many millions have been spent trying to get America to accept that OJ did something that he was clearly framed for? Think about that, y'all. Why white people get mad that he was found not guilty for a crime that he was clearly framed for? It's no mystery to it, y'all. Yeah. There is no, do you think OJ got framed? No, we know he got framed. We know it. We know he got framed. Okay. Now, America, it does some tricky things, y'all. And I keep telling y'all, white folks, they like to protect their image, man. They like to protect their image. So what have they been doing ever since OJ was acquitted for a murder he was clearly framed for? They've been trying to convince the American people that this nigga got away with murder. Now, how did nigga get away with murder? If you really want to accept that he murdered somebody that he clearly was framed for, well, you got to ask yourself, how did he get away with it? Oh, he only got away with it because he was framed? Now, I always ask people a question who talk to me who say they believe OJ did it, And I understand, yeah, there's been literally millions of dollars been put into people trying to convince the American people that OJ did it. So I do understand where it's coming from. All right? And I ask a lot of people a very simple question. Something they may have never thought about. Because they really believe in their heart of hearts that OJ did it. And I just simply ask, if OJ did it, why did they frame him? Now, I know somebody going to hear this at some point. I don't know if it's somebody who hearing it live or somebody who might check out a replay one day or somebody who might say this somewhere else. But it's just a simple question. If OJ did it, why did they frame him? somebody's mind gonna be blown, y'all. Somebody's mind might be being blown right now. Why did they frame OJ if OJ did it? Now I understand that's a heck of a question, y'all. That's a heck of a question. And I understand there's people done seen, again, televisions, television shows, movies, and documentaries with all kinds of stuff saying, hey, this and this and this and this, and he must have done it. And many a person has been convinced that OJ has done it. Okay? I'm not going to act like people ain't been convinced, but I'm just wondering, if he did it, why they frame him? What's the point in framing the guilty party? Okay? It don't make a lot of sense to me. If we done caught the man, we got the evidence that he did it, what's the point in framing him? I don't understand that, you know? But you know what? I ain't gonna act like I'm the smartest person, okay? Why frame a guilty man? Now, I totally get why you frame a guy who's not guilty. I get that. Okay. That makes sense to me. You know? And my bad, y'all. I forgot to put the link in the description again. I'm about to take care of it now. For people who want to join. You know? I'm just thinking as a reasonable person. Okay? The people who work for law enforcement, you know, these are experts, y'all. They do this stuff for a living. When you do something for a living, let's keep it real. If you apply yourself, you can get pretty good at what you do when you do it for a living. So all you got to do to make your mark in your industry is catch the guilty people. That's all you got to do. You ain't got to be a part of a trial of a century. You ain't got to go out your way to do things and try to get people to believe stuff that ain't true. All you got to do is catch people who was actually guilty, and you gonna shine in your industry. That's all you got to do. Okay. Just catch guilty people. That's all you got to do. Now, you've been working your job for some years, y'all. Am I supposed to believe folks who worked their job for years don't know how to catch guilty people? See, if I do something for a living, I'm going to be good at it. I'm just keeping it real because I'm just not a total idiot. All right. Somebody's literally paying me to be good at something. I don't mind being good at something I'm paid to do. So if I do something for a living, if I'm a cop, the last thing I'm not going to be able to do is good police work. I'm just saying. I don't know how y'all see life. I can't say 100% for sure what y'all value. But if I'm a police officer, if I'm a detective, okay, y'all know what I'm going to be good at? Police work. That's real talk. I'm going to be good at police work. I can't guarantee you the next man going to be good at police work, but I'm going to be good at police work because I'm not a complete idiot. So if I'm good at police work and we quote unquote know who did it and we quote unquote have the evidence, y'all know what I'm going to do? Well, if I'm in that position, what I'm going to do is help the prosecutors win the case against the guilty party because I do great police work. We know who did it. We know what the evidence is. All I got to do is turn this over to the prosecution team and they good to go. They good to go. That's all I got to do. Turn it over to the prosecution team and we got this SOB. Okay, we got them. You ain't got to worry about this because my great police work gonna give you everything you need to make sure you can put this punk away, y'all. You know, you can put this rat bastard away. You can put this nigga away. You can put this human trash away, however they want to describe it, y'all. Now I know they got nasty with it when they came up with different things, y'all. Okay, I know they got nasty with it, but real talk, y'all. And again, y'all, I understand, and it's okay if even if you feel that way, if you feel like OJ did actually do it, I'm not even tripping, y'all. They done put millions of dollars into trying to convince people that OJ did it. OJ done went to trial. OJ done got framed. Everybody know it, but OJ got acquitted. And I just wonder why you framed the guilty guy. That just blows my mind. I would love to ask Mark Furman, why would you frame a guy that's already guilty? You know, it's almost like you're on the football field. Quarterback makes an excellent pass to you. They put some real pressure on him. Quarterback scrambles. Barely looks. He get a halfway decent look. He's slinging 60 yards down the field. You catch it in the red zone. But instead of going across the touchdown, instead of breaking the plane, now you run the other way. I don't want to break the plane on my team. I don't want these 6 points. I don't want these 6 points. Instead, I'm going to run full steam ahead in the other direction. Okay? My team ain't going to know what to do because, first of all, they're going to be shocked when they see me running the wrong way. They ain't going to know what to do. Okay? The other team, even though they shocked, they gonna start blocking members of my team because they see me running in the wrong direction. Somebody gets smarter. We got to stop this dude. He's trying to get his touchdown for the wrong team. The opposition gonna start blocking for me because I'm running the wrong way. Why would you frame the guy that's guilty? I'm just saying. Okay. Now, this verdict, for whatever reason, we saw how it, quote unquote, tore this country apart, y'all. It tore the country apart. People was upset. People was livid. You got all these niggas out here celebrating in the streets. And yes, if you remember the footage, there was niggas celebrating in the street. Because no matter what, y'all, we just niggas to them. So it was niggas celebrating in the streets. And the white people is upset that a nigga got off for a crime that he was framed for, and everybody know it. But shout out to all my hoes demonetized. Let me go ahead and give him the mic. You got it, my brother. How you doing?
No complaints, man. TGIF to you.
Same to you, my brother. Same to you.
It's funny that you say how can they frame a guilty man. I don't know if you've seen the movie with Richard Gere called Arbitrage.
No, I can't say I saw that one. At least I don't remember right offhand.
Basically, the premise of Arbitrage is that Richard Gere had a mistress that he was dealing with, and in the midst of him dealing with that mistress, he pretty much ended up getting in a wreck because he fell asleep at the wheel and she died. So because he was a prominent figure in the business world, he went to basically cover up the murder, and the investigating cop pretty much was trying to make him look guilty. In the midst of it, because of the letter of the law and the evidence he had, he wasn't able to really pin him. So he came up with video that he basically, tampered with and so forth. And then all of a sudden they found out through the video and through the evidence that he was submitting that it was tampered with. Same thing with the OJ case. They tampered with the information that they had to be able to try to pin him. So this pretty much is kind of a back way that cops do things in order to be able to make sure that they, quote unquote, pin somebody to the highest extent of the law.
You know what? I definitely get those type of things go on, and all I'm saying, because since we out here on the public record, if I was a police officer, I could just get people by doing good police work. I wouldn't have to help. I get they
It's
just
funny.
think they're helping with evidence. I wouldn't have to help. I would just do good police work.
And it's funny because the judge in the case on the movie Arbitrage basically got mad at Tim Roth's character and says, "Look, I know you want to pin him. We know he's guilty, but you got to get him the right way."
That don't sound like too much to ask from me. You know,
Right.
that don't sound like too much to ask. You know, and
Yeah, but
trust me, I've been asking since the day of this verdict. Why Furman frame him if he's guilty? I just don't understand. I just don't understand. What's wrong with roll up your sleeves and do some good old police work? What's wrong with that? I don't get it.
I mean, not to teeter off subject too much, but I mean, think about what happened with Trayvon Martin, and you heard when Zimmerman got out the car talking about something, they always get away. So
I believe that case would have went very different had they did some good old police work. I mean, I already knew what was going to happen in that situation. I told people what was going to happen in that situation, and they took 45 days just to even arrest the guy. So I kind of knew what was coming down the turnpike on that one. But I will say some good old police work, that would have been a very different situation.
absolutely. But yeah, I just want to come up and say that, man. I'm gonna drop down, but continue your show, brother. I appreciate you covering this.
Okay, and I appreciate you for coming up.
All
Real
right, man.
talk. Real talk. All right, y'all. We got a very special guest today, y'all. Very special guest. The highly distinguished Johnny Cochran is in the building, y'all. Johnny Cochran is in the building. You got it, Johnny. How you doing, brother?
What's going on? Happy Friday to you, Roger. How you doing?
Doing great, my brother. Doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Hey, great work, man. Great work. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
You do a fantastic job.
Thank you. Thank you. The reason OJ Simpson was found not guilty and is innocent of the crime was because the timeline. The prosecution were very inconsistent in how Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman were murdered. At first, they said that he was murdered. That the two were murdered at 9:45 p.m. and that it took O.J. Simpson less than an hour and a half before he. It took more than an hour for him to murder those two before he got on the plane and flew over to Chicago. They kept moving up the timeline from 9:45, and then it went up to around 10:30 and 10:45. Well, guess what? His plane left at around 11:30 p.m. to Chicago for an event that he was supposed to attend for Hertz Company. I mean, that's virtually impossible for him to go ahead and commit a crime in less than an hour and 30 minutes and, somehow, some way get home, get dressed, get in a limousine, which is about 40 minutes to the LA airport, and then fly out to Chicago. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. Plus the blood samples and everything else, just one drop and everything else in the driveway. I mean, this is police misconduct. They were tampering with evidence, placing him in various positions, the bloody sock, and everything else. There was just being spread everywhere. And then the glove. And, you know, I told Chris Darden that, hey, those gloves are not going to fit OJ Simpson. He said, whatever. He wanted me to try. He told me he wanted to try it and everything else. And guess what? The gloves didn't fit. And as I said to the jurors, if the glove don't fit, you must acquit. That's simple. So to me, it's just no way for OJ Simpson to go ahead and murder two people like that at his age, at 47, playing in a brutal sport, football. Here he is, has arthritis, he had about 20 knee operations. He also had some operations done to his wrist and everything else from playing the sport and everything else. OJ Simpson, yeah, he's a big man, but he was not in peak shape like he was when he was playing football. Besides, whenever he supposedly committed the crime that they said, OJ Simpson didn't have any marks. No physical marks and everything else. Ron Goldman, while he was about 5'10", was more athletic and could have possibly fought off against, the person who attacked him. But, I just don't see how O.J. Simpson murdered both Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. Another thing, too, when Nicole Brown Simpson was murdered, they said that that the butcher knife that was used, that was never found, that he slashed Nicole Brown Simpson behind his neck. Nicole Brown Simpson behind his neck. But what we found, that the neck that was, the laceration was from the left hand. O.J. Simpson is a right-hander. So there is no way that O.J. Simpson at all could murder two people like that in less than 1 hour and 30 minutes like that, going on board cross country to Chicago for his annual meeting like that. There's no way he could have done that. That's why the grand jury's made the right decision. He's not just was found not guilty, he was found innocent of the crime.
Now,
I'll let him explain there.
Now I'm going to say, y'all, see, I know some people may remember this. Most of us should remember this. Because, again, y'all, it was the trial of last century. It really was. There wasn't even stuff in place to make another trial bigger. This is a celebrity on trial, a pitchman on trial, a Hall of Fame on trial. This was the biggest trial. People could watch it. We didn't have television in bigger trials. And people can say there's some trial in history that was, a bigger deal. You can say that. You can say there was more victims and all that type of stuff. But you didn't have television coverage the way you had it when OJ was on trial. You never seen a low-speed chase when they went after OJ. Like, it was unprecedented things happening in this particular case. So why would America get so mad that the justice system that they swear they love worked? They didn't get mad when them people got tried for Emmett Till and they got off. They celebrated. Okay, they celebrated the fact that people got off when Emmett Till got killed. This the same system, y'all. Y'all get what I'm saying? This the same system. The same system that the people who killed Emmett Till, they were found not guilty. Folks celebrated. That exact same system is the system that OJ went to trial under, and he was found not guilty. What's the big deal? Why do white folks get so mad? Why do white folks could be seen crying, y'all? I mean,
they were crying because the system that had protected them turned around and went against them. That's why they were crying.
I don't even. Well, I mean that's a good theory. That's a good theory. I didn't see it that way. First of all, I didn't see the reason to be tearing up over the fact that it was the same legal system that folks was. It was all type of lynchings and whatnot happening. You know what I'm saying? There was all type of kidnappings happening. There was all type of murders happening. A lot of stuff happened over the years in America. And folks went to trial on that same system. And it was so many white folks that got off in this same system. The system never changed. It's the same system. OJ literally got framed on national television and everybody knew it. Yet people got mad because the system gave a not guilty verdict to a clearly framed man. Make it make sense, okay? But let me get a mic to our Ivy League who's come up. My main man, proud to be a nigga, is in the building. And I think he proud to be a nigga, y'all. I think he just might be proud to be a nigga. But proud to be a nigga, you have the flow, my brother. You have the flow.
Salute to you, Roger, and shout out to Johnny Cochran. October.
Thank you.
October 1995. So first, what does the OJ verdict mean to me? The trial of the century. October 1995. The verdict that shook America. White hoes was crying, niggas was dancing. Social studies, 11 a.m. High school. Teacher turns on the tube and it said, not guilty. The grin went from ear to ear because this was the first time I saw a black man in power. Because if you can kill a white hoe and get off in America, you mighty powerful. Now, well, whether he did it or not really is not the issue. The issue is that in America, when they pulled over Denzel Washington in the hurricane, and they said they were looking for two black men, Denzel said something very powerful. Any nigga will do. And that is the criminal justice system in America from 1619 till today. And there's only 2 times that I saw black men truly display power. Once when Obama won the president of the United States, that comes in a smooth number 2. And the number 1 position is when white folks said a nigga wasn't guilty of a cracker getting murdered. And we just danced and hollered and Twinkies and Coca-Cola. Everybody was happy. Everybody was even people in sexist marriage finally got their dick sucked. That's how powerful the OJ verdict was. That even niggas was fighting with their wives got a little pussy that night. And that's how powerful that verdict was. Now, shame on Darden, because I know he wasn't proud to be a nigga that day. Cool. But yeah, that's I'm gonna pass the mic. But I'm just gonna say that's what the OJ meant to me. Verdict meant to me. 1995.
Now, I'm gonna say this trial the trial's verdict should have been celebrated all across America. Because this is the one case where you can actually lay out the facts and say for sure that the system worked. This the one case you really can do this with. You can say, look, we saw what got presented. We saw the defense take a position. Okay. We saw evidence being presented. We saw information on what the players were doing when they was doing their jobs. We clearly saw a man get framed. What is there else to do besides say that there is a reasonable doubt due to the fact that folks involved took it upon themselves to frame this guy?
Yep.
Now, we don't know nothing else. This was proof that the system can work. Now, there's all type of evidence out there that the system has not worked. I'm not saying like the American justice system is a system that works. I'm not even saying most of the time. I'm saying this trial proved that it could work because we know it got it right at least one time. This is why it should have been celebrated all over America.
Yeah. Hey,
there's so many branches on this verdict. I mean, the dude that made so much money that his daughters can be complete failures at Instagram thoughts. If it wasn't for OJ, Kim Kardashian would not exist, right? Because OJ made Kim Kardashian father filthy rich off this case.
This case also was the beginning of Fox News, believe it or not, because right when the trial started, that's when Roger Ailes started Fox News. He was at the infant stage. It started as a radio show, and when this trial started, back in 1995, Fox News, was at first was a radio program. It wasn't until after the trial in 1996 that it became a full-fledged television station. So this trial created people like Greta Van Susteren, the Kardashians. You also had, during that time, you had a whole bunch of tabloid shows back in the day, like Hard Copy, A Current Affair, Inside Edition. The trial of the century, as we call it, had over 150 million viewers.
And that was huge back then. In 1995, that was huge. Without any social media pull or anything like that, that was huge.
Yeah.
And I just want to ask something really quickly. That the fact that, and shout out to Johnny Cocker's family, one of the best lawyers that ever made it. They were so mad that they had to get Johnny.
Yeah. He had there were death threats, bomb threats at Mr. Cochran and the family. Had to use the Nation of Islam security, in which which Fred Goldman didn't like at all. But hey, the LAPD refused to do security and everything else. And then later on, you've heard about the Rampart scandal, in which police officers were framing innocent, mainly black men and Latinos, in which police officers were found guilty of doing it and everything else. And this was something that Chief Daryl Gates started back in the 1970s and 80s. He used a lot of Gestapo tactics in LA back in the day.
Well, I'm gonna say this verdict put America back on the table exactly about who America was. Okay. some niggas is happy, so white people mad. And when you think about it, y'all, that's normally when white people get mad, when niggas is happy. You know?
That's why they got Johnny, right? That's why they allegedly. That's why they got him.
Yeah. And I would say, man, it's a shame, but it's been going on so long. I know people don't really see it as a shame. Everything went this incredible way. And again, I say it's the perfect case because it proves that the American legal system can work. I'm not saying it's going to work. I'm saying it proved that it can work. Now I don't know what law schools do with this trial, but it probably should be taught. And for everybody who's trying to become a lawyer one day, this trial should be I believe this trial should be part of the curriculum. If you want to be a great lawyer, it's a lot of great information you can use from this particular trial. Now, has it been taught that way since? I don't know. Have no idea, y'all. I've never asked. Okay, I've never asked. But it definitely should be. But it did show you exactly who America was. Because America was trying to hide its real identity for a while.
Yeah.
But you seen exactly who America was after this trial. After this verdict was read, boy, people took sides. Real talk.
Yes.
And let's not forget that this happened right after, almost immediately after Rodney King.
Yeah. And another thing too about that too, right after the Rodney King incident, Mr. Cox, myself, had to defend Michael Jackson because the police, because of the because there was some very untruth things that they were saying about Michael Jackson in regards to this quote unquote molestation cases, which was never proven.
Well, I'm gonna say that my thing is America showed itself during this trial because people, for whatever their reasons are, they literally made you have to pick a side. Okay, you had to, and it wasn't. Y'all don't remember a time when America had been so interested in a nigga's opinion. Boy, black folks was getting asked all over the place. So what'd you think? Do you think he's guilty or you think he got away with it? You ain't never seen so many black people be asked their opinion. Now, I'm not saying white folks ain't been all up in black folk business since day one. I'm not saying that. But it was far more overt during that time. Well, white folks want to know, what did you think about this particular situation?
I remember riding the bus, SEPTA, going home, October 3rd, right? Going home from school, right? And how it works is that where I live in North Philly, but I had to go through Center City, and Center City's like where the white people live, and then right on the outskirts of Center City is the mix, and then like once you pass like Girard Avenue, nothing but niggas after that. So, and you could just see the conversation, white people just like, can you believe this? Like, oh my God. And then black people just looking and just like grinning. And then as soon as we passed Girard Avenue, just laughing and smiling and shit. Because white people just couldn't believe this nigga didn't go to jail.
Yes. And the thing is that, what white folks couldn't believe was the amount of black people who were outside the courthouse after the verdict were cheering.
Yeah, and they were like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it!" And and people like on the bus is normally quiet, right? Especially in October, it's cold as hell in Philly, right? And it's cold, and nobody's talking. And like it gets dark at 4:30, 4:30, and the whole bus is chit chatting. White people chit chatting like, "What did you think? Do you guys do there?" And black people, they just shook their head like, "I don't know, lady." Just shook their head like, "I don't know." The world is crazy. As soon as we passed Gerard Avenue, laughing, clapping, the bus driver was like, "We did it, y'all. We did it."
Now, my thing is, why white people get pissed off so much that the system worked? We saw that man get framed. We know who framed the guy. You know, and since we all know OJ was framed, everybody should have known what the verdict was going to be. But let's keep it real. We didn't know what the verdict was going to be because we are so used as a country. We are so used to the system not doing what it's supposed to do on paper that nobody knew what was going to happen. Let's keep that real. If the American people thought we had a fair legal system, it would not have been a question on which direction this verdict was going to go. But everybody was curious about which direction this verdict was going on, because the American people know you cannot trust the legal system. That's why it should have been a day of celebration. We actually saw it was a high-profile case, but we actually saw the system work. America should have been proud of this day. They're not proud of this day even to this day. We in 2025 celebrating this 30 years that the system actually worked, and America's still not proud of this day.
No, they had to run it back. They was like, "No, we got to run this back." Civil court niggas.
You know? And what did OJ wear? What was it, 32? Is that what he wore as a jersey number?
He wore number 32.
Yeah. I would bet they done put at least $32 million into trying to convince folks that OJ is guilty.
Well, I mean, that's why they went. That's why they went to civil court, right? It's like, no, it ain't over. We're gonna run it back.
But I'm saying though, with the American people the people who made documentaries, the people who made movies, the people who made television series, it's probably at least $32 million spent on trying to convince the average American that OJ did it. And everybody know LJ got framed.
But to be honest, though, man, I don't know. Most people thought the cartel did it.
I have theories in that direction myself, because it seemed like a mob hit to me. But ain't nobody ever gonna be tried from them. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way that's gonna go. But the thing is that regardless of that, though, the effort America made to say, "No, y'all, we still racist in the mofo." Like everybody was being overt again. People was covering stuff up. People was like, "Well, don't say it in public." I mean, if you're gonna call them a nigga, call them a nigga in the house. You know what I'm saying? Don't be outside saying they niggas. Like America stopped covering up the racism for a good little minute once this verdict came in. And then, like I say, y'all think they ain't spent at least $32 million trying to convince the random Americans that OJ did it? With all the stuff they have produced since that verdict came in, they just got to make you feel like he did it no matter what. And I'm not going to say it didn't work. It has worked. There's people who argue all day long that OJ did it. And my thing is, they don't even look at the fact that he got framed. They don't even care that he got framed.
What made OJ look a little bit guilty was the white Bronco chase, right? And they even stopped selling white Broncos after that. But that's what made him look a little bit guilty, like the police chase. And he was driving in a white Bronco. And then from that point on, everybody's like, "Oh, he's guilty."
Now, I would say this: a lot of folks did say that. I don't personally believe that made him look guilty. To me, it made him look innocent, because an innocent man gonna ride that slow. The low speed chase, that's an innocent man.
Well, I mean, but for most people, that paid to him is guilty, right? And shout out to AC,
Yes.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm with you all day that people took that to say, no, that made him look guilty. I'm with you there all day long. And to me, what made him look guilty in the eyes of America was his skin color. He was guilty no matter what. And I think the reason that people reacted in such a way to this trial, when white people saw that they could not convict I'm gonna even say innocent, because you're innocent to proven guilty. When white people saw that they could not convict an innocent black man, I think their heart broke. That's what I really believe. A lot of them, their hearts broke. You can't convict a nigga? How did we get to a point in America where we cannot convict a nigga?
Well, back then, there was a popular restaurant that was, of course, it was a place where Nicole Brown system used to go hang out with, with Ron Goldman, Faye Resnick.
Place she used to do her smack? Did she do a smack at the restaurant?
It was called the Mezzolino.
No, I'm just curious. Did she do smack at the restaurant? Because there was a lot of rumors about Nicole and the smack.
Yes.
I ain't saying she did the smack, but there was a whole lot of rumors about her doing smack.
It was a well-known place that that Ron Goldman used to work at, and a friend of his by the name of Michael, his last name is spelled Nigg, Michael Nigg, was a month before the verdict. He was brutally murdered in front of his house, not too far from where Nicole Brown Simpson was slain 15 months earlier. To this day, they have not found the people who committed those crimes at all.
So you saying he was killed after Nicole was killed?
Yeah, he was killed. He was killed after Nicole Brown Simpson was killed. He was killed back in September 8th, 1995.
And that was one of Nicole's buddies?
Yes.
So are you implying that he owed the mob money too?
Well,
because that was the rumors about Nicole. The rumors was she owed the mob money.
Yes.
Are you implying that there were rumors that he owed the mob money too?
Yes. Yes.
I just want to make sure I'm following you on that one.
Right.
No, and I mean, as they say, birds of a feather do flock together. So if she owed the mob, it's not a far stretch that her friend would owe the mob either. That's not really a far stretch at all.
Well, the other roommate, who's the other poor white person? What's his name?
Ron Goldman?
No, that's the one who got murdered with her.
Right.
The other one, he was making. So I forgot his name, but I know he was OJ's guest mate or whatever.
Kato Kaelin? Kato Kaelin, that was his name, right?
Yeah. Kato Kaelin, yeah.
Oh, and now I'm gonna say this. The thing went on so well. It was so much of it televised. To me, it's just interesting that white folks would just, they would go back to their overt racism, which doesn't surprise me at all. If you was a grown black person, I'm gonna even say person, because I don't even think they just asked the men. I think they was asking the women too. Where you sat in this one? And I do believe at this particular point. Now, I wasn't grown at the time, but I believe that people's jobs was in a balance. When they was asking, what you think or and I know technically it ain't supposed to be that way, but these folks was upset. Okay, I remember white people was upset about this, and you literally had people crying in the streets that he was not convicted. So I think jobs was in the balance. And when they asked you, what did you think about the OJ trial? Real talk, I think if you was an adult at the time, I just don't know how he got away. I think that was like the standard answer you were supposed to give. I just don't know how he got away with it. But no, it like I say, this trial showed everything right about the American legal system. That's the way I see it. I finally saw a trial where justice was clearly served. But, justice being served, white people didn't like it. Now, this your system. You came up with the system. You gave the system. The black folks just used the system you gave us. Now I'm gonna say this, y'all, because people say, "Well, no, he should be guilty anyway." If OJ should have been found guilty, even though he was framed, because people made that argument, does that mean the white people who was involved with the prosecution that they were incompetent? Now I understand there was a black guy over there too, but when it comes down to it, do they really care about what the niggas say? So, are the white people who are prosecuting OJ, are they just incompetent? If you buy into a nigga should be guilty even though he was framed. And well, I mean, matter of fact, before we even go there, what do y'all think about the fact that the people were literally on television saying that nigga should be guilty even though he was framed? What y'all think about that?
Well, the media, played a part in trying to sell that O.J. Simpson was guilty. That's what they were doing. You had all these quote unquote legal experts from Jeffrey Toobin back then who were, just pointing to O.J. Simpson as the main suspect instead of doing other investigations of, instead of, searching for other people. And plus also too witnesses.
But hold on. Because they saw what we saw. This was televised. They saw that nigga got framed. Yeah. I get it. They see him as a nigga, but you seen the nigga got framed. Do you think it's cool for people to say, well, I saw the nigga get framed, but the nigga should be found guilty anyway?
Well, unfortunately, the racist mind, just see this, this black man and everything who was once accepted by white people. O.J. Simpson was a very popular individual and accepted by white folks, but the problem was that he was with a white woman, and this white woman that he cared about and loved was found dead along with her friend. And that was being seen as, as a no-no. If you harm or touch a white woman or anything else, you're automatically guilty, and you should be either
well, you know what,
life or get lynched.
Let's interject in this. Let's interject in this. Real talk. So Nicole with a black man, she fine. Nicole with a white man, she come up dead. The healthier choice is the black man. But we mad. As a country, not me, of course, but as a country, we mad. Because collectively, we mad at OJ. Nicole was perfectly healthy while she was with OJ. OJ clearly protected that woman. Okay. He obviously was a good leader for that woman. Okay. We know he provided for the woman. But now she ended up with a white man and she ends up dead. Now ain't that about nothing? Now you're blaming OJ. Now I don't know what was going on with Ron Goldman. He was supposed to protect that woman. They say he was an expert in karate or something, like a black belt or whatever. I mean, bro, why you go through all that training if you ain't using none of it? Now, I wasn't there. Okay, I wasn't there. But I am going to say this. If they got killed with somebody using a knife and karate, what's the problem? Why didn't Ron Goldman just protect his lady? I don't get that. You train, right? Ain't that part of some of the training to actually take weapons from people, or at least get the weapons out of the assailant's hand if you're attacked? That's one of the things I understand about the martial arts. You're supposed to use it for defense, not be using it to attack people. Somebody had a knife on you that wanted to kill you. What happened to all the training? What happened? Now, I'm not, quote unquote, blaming the victim for his own death. I'm just asking a question about what happened to all that training. Because if he was an expert in karate and he got killed with a knife, this is not a good promotional. If you was the school that taught him, this wouldn't be good promotion for you. This must got is this the worst martial arts school in existence? Like, what happened that he didn't use none of this training to defend himself and his woman? Now, some people might say, well, you know what? Okay, well, somebody must have had a gun on him, because that's what I've said. So was it one killer or two killers? Because if OJ did it, how he get both of them to sit still long enough for to stab him up the way he did it all by himself? Wow, he's got to deal with the fact that this guy is an expert in karate. Black belt, I believe they said he was. That's an amazing situation. Okay, that's just an amazing situation. So my thing is, if we're being sensible, I don't know how you come to the conclusion that OJ did it in the first place. And if nothing else, the trial did work because a man was presented to have a reasonable doubt due to framing. Why are we tripping? Now, my thing was we should have been, as a collective, we should have been mad at Mark Furman, if anything. You know what I'm saying? We should have been, let's get Furman because he let OJ off the hook. But you didn't see America respond that way. I don't even remember him losing his job or nothing. You know? I don't remember no bad situation happening with Mark Furman because you done let the trial of the century get away from us. You the white folks, you done let the trial of the century get away from us.
Mark Furman
Mark
Furman ended up becoming a legal analyst for Fox News right after the trial ended.
Yeah, and probably made more money being an analyst than he was being a police officer.
Yes, he made more money, based on books that he wrote. Some of it, was false and everything else. And also, too, he was also in the middle of the Rampart scandal that was going on back in the late 90s and early 2000s, where they conducted an investigation and found that that over 100 over 70 police officers were implicated, for tampering evidence and everything else, and as a result of it, over 100, actually close up to 1,000, cases had been thrown out because of it.
But as they say, birds of a feather flock together. we know Furman out here doing stuff he ain't got no business. Ain't no question about that. Now shout out to Universal UC. I appreciate you big time, my brother, y'all. Now he actually sent me $25 on the Cash App side, okay? And he actually did it before the show, y'all. Said it registered about 6:16 a.m. And appreciate you, brother. And he says compliments Roger Report. You know what I'm saying? Well, compliments Roger Report Live and your trusted panelists. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Y'all, 6:16 a.m. he came through for a brother. Okay. And I'm telling y'all, big or small, I do appreciate it all. And I especially appreciate the folks who send something in while we're not even on air. That's a great feeling. That is a great feeling. So shout out to Universal UC. Appreciate you big time, my brother. Appreciate you big time. Y'all see how I celebrate the wins? And I believe OJ's trial was a win for America. All right. We got a black man, for whatever reason they want to put it on him, that Nicole is dead. Now, Nicole got all type of suspicious activity going on throughout her life. I'm not saying what she did do. I'm just saying, according to the rumors, there's all type of suspicious stuff going on with her. Why are we blaming OJ? And if you truly believe OJ had a legitimate reason to be blamed, well, he got framed. Why don't we let that go? Why did somebody cry because they saw a framed man be acquitted? How much hatred do you have to have in your heart to cry over a framed man being acquitted? And if framing a guy is bad, how come nothing bad happened to Furman? America did actually say, hey, y'all, Guess what? If you frame a nigga, it's cool. Even if he's a famous nigga, it's cool. Even if he's a nigga that can help white people make a bunch of money, it's still cool. Even if this nigga is, I mean, maybe OJ was the first superstar, because he was the first, the first I remember being like a real big pitch man. Maybe he was the first superstar. You think about it, television, what people could actually see, what people could actually hear about, how things could happen live. OJ is possibly America's first superstar, because he was the pitch man before Michael Jordan. Okay, Michael Jordan did it like him. I got to give him his credit on that. So maybe he was the first actual superstar in American history. Okay, I'm not 100% for sure, but I think he definitely will go toward the running of the first actual superstar in American history. When we think about what he was able to accomplish. And America said it's cool if you frame a superstar. As long as that superstar is a nigga, don't worry about it. Okay? Don't worry about it. And I'm gonna say, y'all, America said they support the framing of a nigga. When you are upset that this trial ended on a not guilty plea, that has to prove that you are on the side. I ain't gonna say just of white supremacy, but we know 100% for sure you on the side of framing a nigga. Think about that, y'all. Even if the nigga a superstar, you support that. This is the America you want. This is the America you know and love. And for the people who were brokenhearted after he got the not guilty verdict, why did they heartbreak? We got to really think about that. Why would a good salt of the earth white person who live in America, because there was issues all over the country, y'all. Let's say you live in Utah, okay? Very white area, okay? You live in Utah, you watching the news, you seeing what's popping off. They come back with the not guilty verdict. Why would you be upset? The system worked. We saw the system work. We saw a nigga get framed. Why would your heart be broken that a nigga who was clearly framed got an acquittal? It just don't make sense unless you truly support frame any nigga you want to at any time. I don't care what he's done in life. Frame any nigga at any time. We down with it. But since Shark Sim has come up, I'm going to go ahead and give him the mic. Go ahead, my brother.
Well, happy Friday, everybody.
Happy OJ got off day.
Mm-hmm. Big shout out to OJ, Johnny Cochran, and the whole legal team that he had behind him. But I just want to say, not too long ago, I don't know if it was a documentary that I seen it on, but she had a serial killer doing handiwork for her, and I think his name was John Glenn Edgar. Either way, what his name was, they say that he confessed to it in jail. And OJ's name still has Glenn Edward Rogers, and like OJ's name still hasn't been cleaned, and people saying like, yeah, we were wrong about that stuff. So it just goes to show you, like, the legal system is a wild thing, and ever since OJ got off, they've been gunning for niggas ever since then, and they got their numbers up. You know what I mean? So I just want to say shout out to OJ and rest in peace to OJ, and that one too. And guys, just keep your heads up and watch the white girls you deal with, because they get you in some shizzle, boy.
Hey, that's real talk. And you know what? I'm glad that you reminded me. I think somebody was saying it in the chat too. about how that gentleman confessed to doing the crime that everyone insists that OJ is guilty of. You know, I ain't gonna say everyone. It's a few rock solid people out there, you know, like myself, who just, hey man, if he guilty, why they just didn't prove it? You know, that's my situation. If he's guilty, why didn't they just prove it? Why you got to frame the guy that's guilty? I don't, you know what I'm saying? I'm never gonna accept that you have to frame the guilty guy. Just go out there and do good police work. That's all you got to do. And if my memory's right, Mark Furman was a detective at the time. He wasn't just like some regular cop. He was supposedly a little bit better than a regular cop. And he, you know, he passed everything. He became a detective. He's supposed to be good to go. If you come up with the evidence and you turn it over to the prosecution, the prosecution don't need no help. They know what they're doing. Now, I do believe, y'all, a lot of folks create problems because they try to do somebody else's job. Do your job. Let other people do their job. I understand sometimes people go above and beyond. But if you're going to go above and beyond so you can shine, hey, just make it make sense at the end of the day. Don't mess up the next guy's situation because you want to go above and beyond in your situation. And my thing is, I wouldn't have minded if the prosecution would have been able to go after OJ with just the regular evidence they had and still lost. Because I think they were going to lose anyway. So why frame the guy? So now you give the American people this thing where, well, you know what OJ probably did is just that he got framed. You did too much. You did too much. I would have rather had to see OJ just get off 100% scot-free, and I would definitely believe that was going to happen. You know, and it's just that serious at the end of the day. I definitely believe that was going to happen. There just wasn't enough to get the man. That's what I'm telling y'all. There was not enough to get the man. If they had enough to get the man, they wouldn't be tampering with evidence. That's how I see it anyway. You know, and I got to say shout out to OJ for even taking the trial. Now I'm gonna say this to y'all too, especially because we got so many black men that's gonna listen to this channel. Take a trial sometime, y'all. I understand there's more to risk when you got a trial because they try to play with numbers. If you take this census, we'll just give you 7 years. But if you take this trial and you lose, you're gonna get 30. I get it. The reason they want you to plead guilty is because they ain't got enough evidence, man. I'm telling you. The main reason they want you to, and I know some people gonna frame it as they trying to save money. No, they can't convict you. That's generally what's going on. They can't actually convict you. Which I'm just gonna say this OJ trial just showed that as well. They didn't have squat to convict the man. OJ just was, in his particular case, he was smart enough to say, "No, I take that trial."
Now,
Y'all
Roger,
want to say I did it? Prove it.
honestly, I wouldn't tell people that advice because sometimes they're giving you a break when they give you that plea deal. They already got you. Sometimes they already got you red-handed, and your lawyer will be able to, maneuver something, and he'll be like, "Well, I could get you to plea, but you know what I mean." Or
Okay,
your ass could go to trial and get them, but they already got you red-handed. I don't think you want to do that.
well, let me put a caveat on that.
But I know some people that happened to.
Yeah, you know what? You make a point, but let me put a caveat on there. I'm referring to innocent men. Now, if you did,
Thank you for putting the caveat on there.
yeah, let me make this clear. Now, hey y'all, this is not legal advice. This is just my opinion about what I would do. If you're actually if you didn't do it, make him prove it. Now, if you did it, you got to make a decision on how much evidence you actually think they got. But you better make a firm, good decision about what's best for you. But I'm gonna say, for me, yeah, if I ain't did it, man, you gonna have to prove that. That's what I'm working with. You gonna have to prove that, because if you got the tamper evidence for the quote unquote guilty man, I know you can't get me. You know, that's how I'm gonna look at it. You know, now I'm not saying people just can't be overt and just disregard the law and convict you regardless, because that, yeah, I mean, this is America, y'all. You got to understand, there's always a possibility that people just gonna ignore the law and put a conviction on you regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, that's why, you know, we had legal experts, you know, like F. Lee Bailey, Peter Neufeld, and Barry Scheck. Barry Scheck, you know, did a very good job of exposing what the LAPD did with the contamination of the evidence, the DNA sampling, and everything else. That's why that's why he was part of the dream team, to expose what the LAPD was doing, you know, as far as, you know, contamination with evidence and DNA samplings that he was able to expose. F. Lee Bailey, you know, he exposed Mark Furman from who he was and everything else, and it was very possible that he did. In fact, Mark Furman, in some ways, kind of admitted that he did plant evidence when he pleaded the Fifth Amendment. When F. Lee Bailey asked him, "Did you plant the glove behind the house?" Mark Furman said, "I plead the Fifth Amendment."
Now, for those out there who don't know what the Fifth Amendment is, it's about you saying, I'm unwilling to answer a question because it may incriminate me. That's what that is, y'all. It ain't just not answering the question. Some people think it's not. And no, I'm not going to answer the question because it could implicate I've done a crime. And I could find myself on trial for a crime. So because of how white folks have been, and as I've said since I was a kid, white men can always give himself a loophole. That is you getting the ability to take a loophole and say, I don't have to answer this question because I might be found guilty of something later.
Yeah.
Now, what you need to do all that for if OJ guilty? That's all I'm saying. Why you need to do all that if he guilty?
And yo, too, Roger, when you was talking about the karate and why he ain't take the knife out of his hand, I was on my way coming back from getting lunch, and I'm like, who do Roger think he was? Steven Seagal? Like, it ain't that easy to, you know, beat a person up and take the knife out their hand.
I'm not saying it is, but I would think at least one of them would have got away. I'm just saying, you got two of them that sliced up. Both of y'all got sliced up, and one of y'all know karate.
Yeah, but I think that was literally a hit. I know it had to be more than two people in there doing that whole thing.
Well, I'm not going to push on who the actual guilty party is. You know, I have my theories, you know, and my thing is this also, y'all. If OJ truly did it, why they put, I'm guesstimating, at least $32 million into trying to convince the American public that he did it. If he's truly guilty, why he spend all this money to get you to believe he did it? They went to trial. He obviously got framed at the trial. It wasn't no secret. And then they put movies out to say he did it. Then they put documentaries out to say he did it. And they put television shows out to say he did it. Why you need all this for the guilty guy? Sounds crazy. Now, it sounds American, but it does sound crazy. If he really did it, it don't take all that.
Sadly, it's really about trying to make money. It's trying to make money and trying to profit off, you know, sadly, the death of both Nicole Brown Simpson.
I would say it's about making money while you're trying to get people to think he's guilty. You can kill two birds with one stone. I'm not going to say money ain't involved, But there's plenty of ways to make money. There's plenty of subject matter to make money with. Why is there so much money put into trying to prove a man who was clearly framed and to making people believe he's guilty? I think that's a little beyond just the money. Yeah, I want to make the money while I convince people this man is guilty, even though he was acquitted. And even though we know he was framed, and people act like it's not out there that he was framed. It was never a secret that OJ got framed. And everybody just seems to bypass that, Well, he had to do something. How you know he did something? And why would you even make that argument when we know the guy got framed? What's the point in arguing did he do it? And he was clearly framed. It makes no sense at the end of the day. And then people say, well, some of the evidence had to be right. If you got caught messing with some of the evidence, how we know you ain't messed with all the evidence?
Exactly.
Now, this shouldn't be rocket science for people, but this is how America has treated this particular case. When I say this is a great case that should be taught about in law schools, this is a great way to learn how to win the case. To see if you see too much tampering, maybe you don't even want to take a case because you're probably gonna lose. Why? Because you got the police tampering all types of evidence, so you're probably gonna lose the case. If it come out that somebody tampered with stuff, this case was too easy, if you ask me. Okay, well, I ain't gonna say it was too easy because the people who had to actually be involved with the case, they definitely had long, drawn out battles with this particular case. This was not this wasn't no quick case. This was in the court for a while. I forget, but I think this case might have went like 6 months long, something like that. This was not a short one at all.
Well, let me ask you a question. And what if that same thing the same case, same people happened in like the times we have now with TikTok, Facebook, Instagram? You think he would have still got off, or you think it would have, like, how you think that would have played out?
I think he would have still gotten off even at this time.
I would hope that he still got off. I would hope that, but honestly, there's always racial tensions going on, so it could have tilted the other way. There's been a lot of cases in American history where we know white people did something to a black person. Usually some black man hung from a tree, whatever the case is. They did you dirty like they did Emmett Till or whatever the case is, and they still get away with those things. So I'm gonna say, realistically speaking, if it happened today, there's a very good chance that OJ would have still been found guilty, even though they know he was framed, because people don't even care. And that's why I said this was a good case, so we can see how America was. OJ was clearly framed, and America clearly didn't care. The racism was overt again. Running around asking people what you think. Look, use a nigga. What side did you take on this? We need to know. What you need to know? What you need to know what I think about this case for? We work in accounting. What you need to know what I think about this case? We janitors. Why you need to know what I think about this case, man? We delivering packages. What you need to know about this? We garbage men. What you need to know what I think about this? What difference does it make what I think about this case? But I saw people getting asked about what they think. And I remember this, y'all. Now, keep in mind, I'm still a kid at the time, but I remember people steady asking guys what they think about this case. It was white people just all over the place just asking people what they think about this case. What you need to know? We don't even know each other for real. We get in the same elevator and you asking somebody what they think about the case. What do you care? Y'all don't even know each other. But they was all up in the business back then. Now, I don't know how it was everywhere else around the country. I was a kid in Chicago. And I remember people asking all over the place what grown men thought about this particular case.
It was a quiet day, I'll tell you that much. I remember I was at my homeboy's school and the verdict came out. My homeboy's house and the verdict came out, and I still had to walk home. And I'm living in like me and my homeboy, like the only two black families in the whole little white neighborhood. And boy, it felt like they was looking through the blinds at me as I was walking home. There wasn't a car on the street driving by, not a bird chirping, not a squirrel jumping out of trees, nothing.
You know, Roger, this trial, you know, this was a rush to judgment case, basically. However you may
Wait a minute, this
feel.
trial took a long time. What you mean?
Say what?
The trial took a long time. This was like 4
Yeah,
or 5 months at least.
Yeah, it was a long time, but it just took days for them to just go ahead and and charge O.J. Simpson instead of just doing random investigations, and looking for other suspects besides O.J. Simpson. Yeah, I was, there were holes in this case. The timeline didn't make sense that according to the prosecution. The blood sampling and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
They did all, when they looked at O.J. Simpson and everything else, they found no markings, no struggle whatsoever on him. The only scar that he had was a cut, and that was because he cut himself in Chicago with the broken glass, which there was evidence of blood on that broken glass in Chicago. So I mean, this was a rush to judgment and everything else. They were just, I mean, they just looked at O.J. Simpson because he happened to be Nicole Brown Simpson's ex-wife. Nicole Brown Simpson was always wanting to get back with O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson was just wanting to move on with his life and everything else.
OJ might wanted to live. He
Yeah.
might have been getting death threats about messing with some white woman at the end of the day.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and land my plane, but I just sent you a little story about the two associates who were good friends with Ron Goldman who were killed. And I think that should be looked upon and everything else, because there's evidence that it's possible that the killers that killed those two men were the ones that killed Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman.
Were the friends white?
Yes, they were white.
I mean, it probably did go that direction, did. I mean, being realistic without, and I'm just, without me looking at it, I'm just going to say, yeah, probably. I mean, they say birds of a feather flock together. Let's just be real about that. And it was a lot of rumors out there about Nicole and her smack episodes,
Yeah. Allegedly, she had an affair with, O.J. Simpson's friend, Marcus Allen, the former running back, Hall of Fame running back.
Honestly, I don't think it had anything to do with no black folks. What I honestly believe happened is she ran up a tab that she couldn't pay. OJ probably bailed out of the tabs plenty of times in the past. And OJ probably might have just said no this one particular time.
Right.
And she couldn't come up with the money. And y'all know how it go. When you mess with the wrong people and you can't come up with their money, they don't care who you are. They got to do what they got to do because they got to make sure everybody respect them. Okay, I'm gonna just say that, and I'm gonna say it does work because I've said the story myself. Even when me and my friends, we went to a bowling alley one time, and we let some people get away from us without paying. It was like 2 girls that got away from our little party, and it was only like $12. We about to leave, and they like, well, nobody paid the $12 for the other, basically for the 2 young ladies that came in with us. And them guys took our IDs. We high school kids at the time, y'all. We are literally high school kids. They took our IDs, and the guy pulled us to the side. I'm telling you, this is a real story. Guy pulled us to the side. He said, "I'm gonna tell y'all just like this." He said, "Man, this place is owned by the mob. They ain't gonna play about they not gonna pay about their money. It could be $12. Now, I don't remember the exact figures he said, but he did say something like it could be $12. It could be 1,200. It could be 12,000. It could be 12 million. They ain't gonna play about their money, period. So I'm gonna let y'all leave. But if y'all don't come back and pay this money, it's gonna be something. Man, we went out to the car and we never pulled off. It's $12, man. Now we some high school kids. I don't remember how hard it was to come up with that $12, but I do remember us all looking at each other in the car, and we just did not want to pull off, thinking we owed the mob anything. Now maybe the guy was lying. Maybe the guy was. I doubt it though, because I live in the city, so I don't think he was lying. Real talk. And I'm saying, y'all, he pulled us to the side. He was just as calm and cool, and he was just letting us know for our sake. He ain't had to tell it. He just said, man, this place owned by the mob. They don't play about their money. Now, that's the world I come from. So now, it's a lot of rumors out there. Now, they just rumors. But it's a lot of rumors out there. Nicole and that smack was an issue, and she was running up tabs. Now, I do believe OJ being a black man, especially a rich black man, he probably pay her tabs off. And I just think at some point in time, OJ got tired of it. Pay it yourself. You know, and then they had to do what they had to do.
Honestly, I think it was Ron Goldman's tab, because I don't see OJ like knowing the people she's involved with and what could happen. I don't see him letting the mother of his children get killed over some cocaine tabs. I think it was Ron Goldman that owed money, and he happened to be at Nicole. He was hiding out at Nicole's house.
That's a very reasonable theory as well. That's a very reasonable theory. Now we got two other guests who just came up, so I'm gonna go ahead and let them get the mic. So hang this nigga now. Okay, you have the floor, and then I get Kevin 3905 in right after you. That's a heck of a way to come in the conversation. Hang this nigga now. But go ahead.
Well, as always, gentlemen, it's nice. It's always nice to be on this panel. Thank you, Roger. How you doing today? It's a great Friday.
I'm doing well. I think your name represents how you thought white folks was definitely feeling at that time. Hang this nigga now. But go ahead.
All hail to the GOAT, OJ. He beat the white man at his own game. Ain't that something? So y'all finally understand why I'm telling you that they cannot let you bunch of Michael Jordan niggas roam around unsupervised. You see? You see why they always had to mess with you? Because you will beat them at their own game. Fair and square. You will force the white man to cheat in order to beat you. So that's why they cannot let you roam free like that. That's why you have to be policed. That's why they have to always be on your back. That's why you have to be always under constant surveillance. That's why you have to be tampered with. That's why they. That's why you always have to be over policing your neighborhood. That's why they got you lock you up. Also, you think they're not gonna lock you up and let you roam free and then turn into, I don't know, the next LeBron James? Huh? They're tired of y'all. I'll end my plane right now. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, Kevin 3905, you got it, my brother.
Good morning, fellas. Good morning. We're going to solve this case in 30 seconds. Nicole Brown Simpson had separated from her husband, but her habits hadn't changed. She was still on that white horse. Nicole was used to him paying off the debt. OJ realized he could save himself the price of a divorce. He kept telling her he was going to pay it off, and kept telling them people he going to give them the middle finger. They said, man, we gonna kill this bitch. He said, I don't believe you. And that's what happened. That's what happened. Now, disclaimer, we don't celebrate anybody's death on the Roger Report Live, no matter how deserving it may be. But sometimes the truth got a little humor in it. And I land my plane now.
So you kind of thinking more the way I was thinking, because I honestly, y'all, that's my real theory behind it. She just OJ was just on some I'm not paying the debt, and I think she just ran up bills because she always knew the juice would take care of it. And I think OJ just got to a point where he just said, I ain't gonna take care of it. But Shark makes a very interesting assertion that I never thought about. Yeah, it could have been Ron Goldman's debt. Now, people may say, well, why would you switch up? Well, I mean, birds of a feather flock together, right? If she borrowed money from the mob, what would make me think her little male buddy, her male friend, wouldn't borrow from the mob either? If
I
she
think
doing
two,
it, why wouldn't he do it?
I think two things can be true. I think they was hanging out together. I think they caught one and the other at the same time, and they both paid the prices. Whichever debt was being settled at that time, they couldn't leave no witness.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And
And
you know
she
what? It's
in
that much
heaven.
more convenient because both of them probably owed anyway. you know,
Now
if
she
we
had the
both
bread.
owed, even if they were sent after Ron, well, you know what? We got Nicole here too. What you want to do? Well, she owe us, go and take care of
Now she had the bread. She up there in heaven right now, or wherever they at, talking about, goddamn, Ron, you see what you got me into?
Dope fiends don't never have the money. Somebody else always got the money for
it. See, Ron, if it wasn't for you, I would have been able to call OJ and get out of this. you know,
them. Yep.
I think it's a tough situation, but never am I finna believe that somebody who's a black belt in karate is finna sit there and get stabbed up with his woman and don't neither one of them get away. And it's just one guy. I
I
don't
think
believe it.
I think if you look at OJ's phone call records, I think right after she got killed, I think there was a call to his divorce lawyer and he took him off retainer right then. I think so.
Well, yeah, I guess I won't be needing your services now.
What you mean? You'll see it on the news. They chasing me right now.
Where you at? I'm on the expressway.
I got to reallocate those funds. You know a good defense attorney. Hold on, I got one on speed dial right now.
Wait a second. He called his divorce lawyer and say, look, I'm gonna need to make a change. Where you at, OJ? What's wrong? Just turn on your TV. Just turn on your TV.
Why? Why are you running? I picked up these gloves in the driveway. I don't know who they belong to. I'm gonna throw them out the window so you'll know it's me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a tough situation for a black man to find himself in. But it's hard for me to believe that Nicole and Ron Goldman was killed by one dude named OJ with bad knees from football.
Bingo.
You know, that's just hard. That's a hard pill for me to swallow. Real talk. But shout out to the racist white folks who put a bunch of money into trying to convince people he guilty. And I'm gonna say, y'all, that's an image thing. It's the power of media. And with all the documentaries that have come out about OJ since that verdict came in, I'm sure $32 million got spent on it. Which is a significant number just because he wore the number 32. I bet you can find that they spent $32 million trying to get this guy. Matter of fact, now that we got social media, how much money did so many content creators put together, putting pieces together, this and that and all that, spending all types of time, money, and energy, on how OJ did it? Then you got the television producers who produce documentaries. You got the people who was able to put TV shows out there. You got the people who was able to put movies out there. You think $32 million ain't been spent on America trying to convince people that OJ did this? And I'm just saying, why you got to convince everybody if the nigga did it?
You said 32 million. I said $32 billion. I'm serious. I'm
And
serious.
you never know.
They are trying hard. They can hold that L. That's what's fascinating with these people. They've been handing out L's to niggas since forever. Let a nigga get a dub and they lose it. Now, goddamn, you cannot always win. And also, as a side note, we have another goat who should get off, which is Tory Lanez. I know he's not part of the subject, but also they did a number on my boy. Hashtag free Tory Lanez. Thank you.
Nah, he ain't getting off. He would have been out. He ain't. He's fried.
Come on, come on, come on. Let's keep hope.
I
Yeah, we can
feel
keep
different
hoping.
about Tory Lanez than I do about OJ. OJ was a brother that entertained us and gave us hope in a hopeless time. Tory Lanez is a degenerate rapper. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this: the OJ thing again. I'm gonna say it should be something to be celebrated because at the end of the day, it was at least we saw proof once that the American legal system can work. We saw it
That's
at least one time.
the
No,
white establishment is not going to celebrate their first public televised failure, sir.
but was it a failure if it did exactly what it was supposed to do?
Yes, it's a failure.
Uh,
If,
I
this,
mean,
if we had a country called Blackistan and it was 80% us and 20% them, and one of them got off on public television, sir, that's a failure.
bro, check it out. Check it out. White people been steady telling us the system is fair. That's what they say. They've been telling us y'all ain't been getting done wrong. We got a great legal system here. It operates the way it's supposed to operate. It's gonna find people guilty who are actually guilty, and it's gonna clear people who didn't do it. That is our story, and we sticking to it. And they've been doing that since the inception of it. Now they finally got this big public trial that's on
Right,
TV being broadcast around the world where they can
right,
sit there and stand on the fact. Let me just finish this. They can just sit there and stand on the fact that our
right,
system is not biased. Our
right,
system don't see color. Baby, the lady with the scales in her hand, she blind, y'all. We've been telling y'all she been blind for centuries at this point. And we proven that she can't see. We standing on this one. Everybody gets a fair shake, and even OJ got off. Why? Because he got a fair shake. This would have been their time to stand on the fact that their system is 100% good to go.
they didn't think that there was a nigga with enough cachet, enough money, enough power, and enough influence to ever get the quote unquote fair trial. But my challenge to the fair trial is this: when we have a jury trial where it's supposed to be a jury of our peers, how come Pookie and Nut Nut got lawyers and accountants and all this shit sitting up in the jury box? That's bullshit. I think when you have a jury trial, the people sitting in the jury should live no more than 5 square radius miles from where you live.
I
Well,
mean,
Roger be talking about that all the time. A lot of times, niggas be skipping out on jury duty, and it be times like that that we could
It
really
ain't
help a
even
brother
that.
off or
It
something
ain't
like
even
that.
that. If you go to the jury pool, they gonna get rid of your nigga ass anyway.
what?
That I agree on too. Yeah, because they
Yeah,
do the whole weeding out who they gonna mess with and stuff too.
nah.
So you're right.
You should be judged by the people you went to school with, the people you bullied in high school, the people you was friends with in high school, and all of that. Cause see, we know that nigga,
Oh,
and we really know who did it.
well, my thing is, I'm gonna continue to do that, and I got some episodes that there's some great episodes I've done that unfortunately we've lost, but I'm gonna talk about certain things. But I'm a person who encourages black men to do everything they can to get on a jury. That's number one. Do everything you
I
can to get
agree.
on that jury, okay? And then we can make some stuff shake a little bit, just by the fact that we got on a jury in the first place. But when it comes down to it, this particular case should have been what white people used to put in black people's faces to say the system has always worked. You niggas just tripping. This would
Now
have been
you're
the
right
case
about
for them
that.
to do that with.
You're right about that. You're 100% correct about that. That's you. Well, you pretty sharp that one right now. You ate your breakfast this morning, didn't
I mean, little got my Wheaties in. Got breakfast of champions, baby. But let me let Floyd Thompson get the mic because he done came up. Floyd, you got it, my brother.
Thanks for having me up, Roger. I guess you did have your Wheaties with the Michael Jordan on the box.
You know what it is.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Shout out to y'all on the panel, man. Fabulous Friday, everybody. Thanks for having me up. I remember this day when OJ got convicted, man. It was like a movie, for real. I was on the campus, a college campus of a western suburb of a private, predominantly white college. And it was kind of a mix of higher learning, deep throat, because at the time I had two white chicks in the room, doing some things. But once the verdict went down, and I played sports, so it was kind of one of those public opinion deals between us athletes, because the majority of the white boys were pissed. The black girls were kind of slick pissed too, but they try to be all indifferent about it. Us as black men, it was like, he didn't do it. I mean, 'cause we knew he was being framed. I mean, there's enough evidence to see. What was the famous catchphrase? If the gloves didn't fit, he must have quit.
Must have quit.
So we can probably kind of say this is a happy OJ Cochran day. But I mean, the racism was at an all-time high on this predominantly small white private campus, where to the point where we had to call one of the star linebackers' parents and say, "Come get this dude off campus. If he's throwing around racial slurs, and the black people on campus are his teammates about to do something to him." And we proceeded to go to his dorm room and move all his shit down to the quad, and dared that motherfucker to do something. Excuse my friend, because he was just like one of them rednecks. He was just so pissed. Like, he did that, man. He did it. But the sisters gave us a lot of flack too. Like, see, told y'all should be what's around some white women. But for those who had white women around our arms, we was like, did I do anything to you? Do I get anything against me? Okay, well, we fine then. So what the hell you talking about, women? I can swell them out, and you can just come and take their place if you feel that way. Nah. Well, shut your mouth. Let us do what we do. But yeah, this day was pretty, man, yeah, pretty eventful, I have to say. And the climate and the mood on the campus was kind of dead for like the next couple of weeks. And I land my plane there, man, for right now. Thanks for having me up, brother.
Right. Thanks
Yo,
for coming up.
it's funny he said that because there was a point where black people was doodling all over OJ name, calling him all kinds of, you know what I mean, like all of he white and stuff like that. So it kind of behooves me, like now all of a sudden he didn't kick the white man behind everybody, like OJ this, OJ that, and it's like, damn, B, like you just can't please the niggas these days sometimes.
Well, you bring up a valid point. OJ was at a certain point seen as he was
A
seen
sellout.
as a sellout. People said that about OJ, and that's just real talk. But I'm gonna say this: black people saw a fair trial. We got to see this particular trial from the beginning to the end. You know, you could see what was clearly going on with the trial. We saw how stuff came out. We saw the juries do what, to me, any reasonable person would have to do. You know, even researching this again, watch some of the stuff. One of the juries said when they first went there, 10 of them was already on not guilty, and it was only 2 of them that said guilty when they first went back. Which sounds about right, because there's always going to be somebody who just ain't going to be reasonable when it's clearly obvious that there's only one way this trial really should go as far as the verdict is concerned. But black people, besides any black person who had a personal issue with OJ, they set that to the side. You know, collectively, we set all that to the side. Now, I was a kid. I don't remember if OJ was a sellout or not. OJ might have just been getting money, and he getting so much money, people got a little soft because they weren't used to niggas getting money back then. You know, because again, y'all, if we researched it, there's a very good possibility that OJ might have literally been the first superstar in American history, just because of timing, his goals, and television and all that. So he might literally have been the first superstar in American history. So of course he got some money, and somebody gonna be a little upset that he getting a lot more money than they are used to niggas getting. But they put all that to the side to see what happened with this trial. It's only one way it could have went without it just being a total farce. You had to go with not guilty. The man clearly was framed. So if black people can put this aside and say, okay, let's celebrate because at least the system worked this one time, white people should have been able to do the same thing. But to hate niggas to a point that you tripping that the guy who got framed got off, it's a lot of hatred that come with that.
That's the only thing your enemy's supposed to give you is hatred, Roger.
Well, they was definitely proving it that day.
Yeah, they were.
They was definitely on code that day.
I remember watching the verdict on television, and just as I went to fist pumping, white folks went to crying tears. I was like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I remember that too, man. Like they crying like the president got shot. Oh, speaking around the president around this time, was messing around with all the whiskey, and nobody said nothing about that. They kind of wanted to sweep that under the rug. And Walter Payton got diagnosed with liver, he needed a liver transplant. But this time, and they're looking sympathetically toward the black man. They kind of like screw Walter. He'll get it how you get it. If you get one, you get one. These black men running them up. And remember, OJ had a string of successes with his naked gun. That's why he made all that money then.
Yeah. He had the Hertz commercial when he was running through the airport.
Well,
matter of fact, wasn't he using isotoners at the time? He was like,
isotoner.
Yes, he was. Isotoner gloves.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
I want to know, was that an isotoner at the trial? Was that an isotoner?
I think that was probably a jab to bring the isotoner from behind the house.
I'm just saying that glove wasn't an isotoner. I don't even think it was OJ's. I'm just saying.
all these free goddamn gloves I got, and you got this Walmart glove. Goddamn well that ain't my glove.
That ain't my glove. Messing with my NIL deal. My NIL deal. I got to wear these gloves.
Yeah, I wear nothing but the best. Isotoner, baby. Isotoner.
That might have been why they thought it was his glove, because it was an isotoner.
Yeah, he was using Soft Sheen products, so he had sponsorship from Soft Sheen. So luster, that's what it was, luster. But put the little curls in his hair, so messing up his NIL deals.
Well, OJ was Jim Brown 2.0. Jim Brown was in movies and all that other kinds of stuff too. It's just it wasn't time yet. Jim Brown was before his time. OJ was on time. He coming out of USC, well spoken, tall, traditionally handsome dude at the time, and he married a white girl. Black women ain't like that. Yeah, black women didn't like that, so he was a sellout.
That might have been the only reason that they might have called him a sellout, because I remember them calling him a sellout. Now, I don't remember why they called him a sellout, but I do remember they called him a sellout. So maybe that was the only real reason going at the time.
Black women hated that dude because he married a white woman. You ain't supposed to be that successful and marry a black woman. What they didn't understand was the politics of it. He wasn't going to get that without marrying a white woman. Not in that environment.
Interesting. But we got Jado done slid up here, y'all. So let me go ahead and get Jado the mic. Y'all be ready. When y'all come up, the mic is coming. I'm on it. Jado, you got it.
What's up, Roger? What's up, fellas on the panel? Everybody in the chat, replay gang as well, man. my 2 cents today, man. Like, yeah, man, just like the very so-called quote unquote justice system that was, created in this country, man. The white people won't even honor that, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like to this day, man. I mean, it never ceases to amaze me, man, that people to this day still talk about how guilty OJ Simpson was when they went through this long trial, combed through all of this evidence, all this stuff, the very system that's supposed to be so great, and they still won't even honor that, man. So it just kind of shows me, I guess the type of people we have, man. I mean, particularly white folks, man. It's just like they don't even honor the facts and stuff like that. No, he did. He still did it. And man, and of course, I'm glad that he was found not guilty or whatever. And it's just like my thing is, man, I kind of look at it differently, man. It's like, man, how much stress? How many years did that take off of OJ's life, man? Again, I'm just speculating. You know what I'm saying? I would imagine that's a pretty stressful situation, man, because he didn't. I mean, he was in jail that whole time, if I'm not mistaken, man. And it's just like, and I don't know what type of sponsorship or any type of deals he lost during that time or whatever, man. And I don't know, man. It's just like he couldn't get that time back in his life, man. You know what I mean? And it just never ceases to amaze me to see how people do that, man. To this day, man, they use satire, comedy, jokes, and then just people just are dead serious, man. And these are people all the way down from the lowest level all the way up to the highest level, man. Still just say, hey, OJ's he guilty, he did it, man. He got off. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, that just amazes me how to this day, man, that still happens, man. I guess I'll land my plane there, man. Thanks for having me up, bro.
Hey, very good point. Very good point. It is amazing that they could hold a grudge for this long, and of course they obviously held a grudge against OJ from that day forward, as if it's his fault that he was found innocent when it comes to killing a woman that he didn't kill. And they had a grudge with him. I mean, the whole thing don't make sense when it comes down to it. And I understand, y'all, there's people who've now been convinced that OJ did it. If OJ did it, why they put more than $32 million, I'm sure, into trying to get Americans to assume he did? You couldn't convict the man. You played with the evidence. What you playing with evidence for if he guilty? I mean, none of it makes sense for real that he's actually guilty. And why they get so mad about it? It was just a big time trial. It was on television. I get all that. We saw it. Yeah, black folks celebrated. What we supposed to do? Ain't we supposed to celebrate the American legal system actually working? Don't y'all want us to think we can trust the system?
No,
But
they
I guess that
don't.
wasn't important to them.
No.
The only thing that seemed to be important was, did we convict the nigga? And if we ain't convict him, we just not happy. It's that simple. At least that's what I got from it. And not only was did they want to punish OJ, since they couldn't punish OJ, they wanted the way they wanted to punish OJ. Let's just start punishing other niggas. Hey, sir, what you think about the trial? I dare you to say you think OJ didn't do it. We gonna fire you now.
And I'm just saying, man, I know you guys have probably noticed this. Yeah, like just even before you even go to trial, man, you're already in a court of public opinion, man. People already are making judgments, man. And then like these people of this certain status and these celebrities, man, they lose endorsements right there. So regardless to whether you know what I'm saying, they're convicted or found not guilty or anything, man, they just start losing money right off the top, man. And we just assume, man, I don't know, it's very dangerous, man. It's like we don't this justice system doesn't. Yeah, is it truly justice, man? And I don't know, man. I guess that's a philosophical question to answer, man. But yeah, man, they start losing endorsement deals. They start getting harassed. A lot of times they sit in jail for a long time without even, they can't. They're denied bail and stuff. So yeah, regardless, let's say they are found not guilty, man. They still had a big chunk of their life taken out of them just because of this.
And I think you bring up a great point that this probably took a few years out of OJ's life, because it's not funny to have a verdict like this hanging over your head. Something that could have got him life in prison. I don't know if that still could have got him killed back then. I don't remember if they was doing capital punishment back then or not in that particular state. But life was hanging over
they
your
still were
head.
in California.
That's where I remembered it. Yeah. So that's a whole lot to think about, and it probably did take some years off his life at the end of the day. He didn't die super young, but he definitely didn't die an old man either.
Yeah, and as a celebrity, your life is never your own already. You already kind of live in a prison within your life itself, and then to have something like that over you, man, you never live that down. Like he's not like the rest of us where we can be anonymous. We can go somewhere and be anonymous after that. After a period of time, your life returns to some type of state of normalcy. Money does not hide you from the world when you're famous like that. Man, I believe that was just with him the rest of his life, man.
Yeah, they kept their foot on OJ neck. He ain't never get up, even though he won that trial. He still ain't get up after that. They kept their foot on his neck.
Yeah.
Didn't he come out with a book after that saying if I would have did it?
Yeah.
He ain't see a dime from it. He did some stuff to protect his money, but all the new money he was making was going straight to the Goldmans because they sued and won.
Yep.
Right.
So he didn't see a dime from
the
that.
civil action.
Yeah.
They still in their eyes they was guilty. They do it on criminal level. They did it on civil. That's crazy. That's what I don't understand about the legal system.
Shaka Nulu saying exactly what it was, man. He said, found not guilty, but never found innocent. That's real talk, man. That's real talk. They couldn't put guilty on him, but they sure never found him innocent. And they did what they want to do. They made sure he died knowing that they thought he was guilty.
And you know what? Like we talking about the justice system, but you know who's even more iller than them? The damn media. Because even after this man was found not guilty, the media kept it running. Not just simple folks on YouTube or Instagram, us with our own opinion. The media, the people who are supposed to be giving it to you straight down the middle, they was like some of the worst. So it's like even if the Goldman seen that, all right, he got acquitted and he didn't do it. Every time you come home and you watch TV, the damn people is talking about, you know what I mean? So like they drilling it in your head that he is guilty. So yeah, the media was the worst.
But as black people, we got to embrace being the villain in situations like that. He should have been. Man, he should have started a company and started selling knives after that. Man, damn them folks. If I were Michael Vick, nigga, I'd have had the most expensive pit bulls on the market after I got out of prison.
I'd have been selling dog food.
Well, I'm never gonna say embrace being a villain. I think we need to learn how to see ourselves as the hero. To me, OJ overcame. He overcame a justice system that has been clearly against black men since its inception, and he somehow got enough done that he actually got a fair trial. To me, he's a hero. A nigga in America getting a fair trial. Think about the way that even sound. It don't even sound right when you say it. A nigga getting a fair trial in America. It don't even sound right.
Correct.
He was able to pull it off, though. That man's a hero. Heck, he provides hope for the country. You know, I understand how they reacted, but real talk, he hoped that you actually can get a fair trial in this country. Because what story do we know of where a nigga got a fair trial? That don't really make the news when you think about it. I ain't saying it ain't never ever happened, but stuff like that don't make the news. They ain't trying to give you hope that you can get a fair trial out of this mug. You know, if they did that, they may not get so many plea deals. I want you niggas convinced you ain't getting no fair trial nowhere, so you'll go and sign this plea deal. And I'm talking about the innocent folk, not the guilty folk. You'll go and sign this plea deal. You take this 5 to 7 years. It ain't gonna be so bad. You better get back to your life. But now we got you in the system. And we'll figure out how to take the rest of your life when you get out. You know, OJ proved, no, it actually can work. And white people just don't like the idea that the system could work for a nigga. That's what I saw. You know? So we got some of the best white folks out here when it comes down to it.
Y'all don't inspire me. I'm going to Ford. I'm gonna order me a white Bronco, take it to the paint shop and paint the juices loose on the side of that sucker.
Hey, you know what, man? I ain't gonna even lie. You know, if they kept on selling Broncos, I probably would have got one.
I said, me too. I was searching for a couple, man. I'm like, oh yeah. I went through the little neighborhoods around the school to see if anybody had one for sale. I'm pretty sure that the white folks was giving them up. Probably little or nothing. And probably just put a knife and a isotonic glove on the dashboard when they sold it to me.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, let me have been thinking straight. I would have got some. I got all
OJ special.
OJ products, man. Every time I read the car, would have been merged.
License plate on the front of it, 32.
With the Buffalo Bills license plate decal on the window.
Man, you driving down the street and white women just busting out crying. Oh my God!
I probably would have dressed up and took a picture with a white woman and put a caption on her lady killer. You know what I'm saying? A few white women.
Oh my God!
Oh man.
I'm saying, I get what y'all mean when y'all say embrace being the hero, but I mean embrace being the villain. But I think we need to learn how to become the heroes, man. A hero is something that's celebrated, and we should have celebrated far more than we did. Now, granted, black folks shows celebrated when he got the verdict that he should have got. Real talk, he got the only verdict that made sense. But you know, if we started to see ourselves as heroes, we could have celebrated that way more than what we did. You know.
Well, that was before the time of social media. I think it had that happen today, and he'd gone through he'd gone through his estate being sued and all this other kind of stuff. I think black folk today would have stood behind him. Like we got things like GoFundMe and all this other kinds of stuff. I think we would have had the mechanisms to stand behind him as a community of people and say, okay, no matter how much money you take from him, if each one of us that are in support of him donate $1, he's gonna be all right. You know,
Yeah,
so we have those kind of mechanisms today, though.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see us pay off his whatever he ended up owing the Goldmans. If we'd just paid that off for him, that would have been nice. You know, real talk. You know, because I just don't believe he did it. Yeah, I've never seen a reason to accept that he did it. And real talk, if OJ was that bad of a man, I don't even think he could have did it. Truth be told, and that's not an insult to him. Man, he played football. He had them bad knees, man. It just is what it is. You know, it's hard to expect certain people to be able to do certain things after they body and took so much punishment.
Yeah, the physical evidence didn't make sense. And you guys mentioned it. Like, you're going to tell me that one person stood there, watched the other person get killed with a knife, and waited to be killed themselves. That doesn't make any sense.
I'm saying, who he killed first? You know what I'm saying? I want to know who watched the other one die. You know what I'm saying?
You know, so he killed the karate. He killed the. Let me get this correct. And this is me at 18 years old having this conversation with white folk. So let me get this correct. He killed the karate expert first, and she stood there screaming and waited for him to kill her. Right? Oh no! He killed her first, and the karate expert was limbering up, waiting for his turn to fight. Which one was it?
Hold on, let me take my shoes off. Like let me take my shoes off like we at the dojo. Right. See, having his business with her, let me prepare myself like at the dojo.
Come on, man.
Rub my feet through this cocaine field rug.
Well, he don't even know what he about to get. When I wrapped his foot across his face, when he got bad knees already, I'm going to sweep kick this man. You know, he making all type of plans. I'm going to sweep. I'm going shot to the face, shot to the knees.
It did not make any sense. If the man was attacked first, the woman would flee. Even if she got killed, it would have been up the street or in the house or something. They stood there side by side, and one watched the other one bleed out, and then say, "Okay, it's my turn." No.
Look, before you kill me, just hold on, baby. Just hold my hand. I know we're about to die, but I need a Titanic moment. Let's just die in each other's arms.
Come on, man. You died in the driveway of a knife wound, 2 people, and no neighbors heard anything. What?
Yeah. I'm going to say white folks really believe a nigga dumb because they believe I'm supposed to believe that.
Come on, man. Back then, we had no washing up Matlock and Perry Mason to know this is impossible. This is impossible. But no.
I just never bought into the story because it just never made sense to me. And then, like I say, I've always took the side of why you got to frame the guilty guy. If he's guilty, just send him up the river. You got what you need. You know, you're dealing with the LAPD. The LAPD ain't got no problem getting the nigga. You know what I'm saying? You know, so I didn't even see it as a necessary thing to go into all this stuff. You know.
Especially with the climate of the time, though, with your NWAs, and gangster rap, and F the police, it ain't no problem getting it up.
Exactly. Because and I'm gonna say shout out to the LAPD because when they whoop Rodney King, my actual belief is ain't nobody took a worse beating except Jesus himself. I don't think nobody been beat like Rodney been beat except the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. and that's not an actual joke. I actually believe that. Well, I say maybe somebody in slavery, but outside of an actual slave, I don't think nobody took a worse whooping than that.
And survive. Wow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so the LAPD ain't got no problem doing whatever they want to people. So I know it wasn't about the fact that they just could do this great police work and find him guilty. They just didn't find no evidence to really put on him. But people don't accept that. I don't know why people don't accept it, because it makes all this. It's sensible, they just couldn't find enough evidence to actually convict him of anything. That's what's sensible to me. Now, shout out to all my hosts, the Montaz. I get what he was saying, explaining the movie, but I just believe they did not find enough evidence to convict him in any way. And if we don't convict this nigga, we may have to convict a white man. Real talk. We got to convict somebody. It's a high-profile case. We ain't gonna just let it slide. What if we got to convict the white man because we won't convict this nigga? And I know some people think that's just putting too much on it. I don't think it's putting too much on it at all. I really believe that's how they believe. And keep in mind, what is law enforcement in America? Because somebody was saying this the other day that the law. I meant to say this too, that law enforcement was overrun with racist people. I don't believe it's ever been overrun with racist people. I think racist people created the system itself, and it's a miracle that you don't have people that ain't racist. That's what I truly believe about law enforcement. It is literally for the racist people. It's their system, and they want it that way. They say the police departments came from slave catchers. Now, I've never actually researched it to see if that's the truth, but I do know when it comes to the systems in place and the Constitution and all that, there was room created for the sheriff department. I didn't read anything about police. So it makes a lot of sense to me that the police did come from slave catchers. Because what do you need them for? You got sheriffs. So that's why I don't think it's ever been overrun with racist people. I think that's where racist people are supposed to go. And they ganged up on OJ, and they tried to do that man dirty. And it didn't work. So now they put out a documentary. See, we can't convince it. We got to convince these niggas that he was actually guilty. And we got to convince every young white person that he was actually guilty. And we let one get away. And us good white people of America, we can't let stuff like this happen again. Because it's 30 years. Didn't they just put out something on Netflix, I don't know, maybe a year ago about OJ? That's how bad it is, y'all. I think it was maybe a year ago they just put out some television show or something about OJ. They ain't gonna let it go. Now he was already dead at that point. Sometimes you hold on to something until a nigga die. His death ain't gonna even stop them. Think about that.
Their feelings was hurt about that thing, man. If you old enough to remember this, man, white folks' feelings cross the country simultaneously like a hive mind. Their feelings was hurt. It was like an incredible phenomenon. It was like 9/11 where everybody banded together under one common cause. White folks banded together under this one common cause. This nigga got off.
You know what? To me, it seemed like white people thought they went into a parallel dimension.
Can't be
He's
real.
still a nigga. How the heck did you say not guilty? And again, y'all, it was very abundant that OJ was framed. Why was there even a question about what the verdict was going to be? A framed nigga went to court. It came out that the nigga was framed. How do you juggle what the verdict should be when
Come
all
on,
you
man.
need is a reasonable doubt? As if framing somebody don't automatically put a reasonable doubt in there. Because OJ, even if I thought OJ did do it, the fact that y'all framed him make it where I can't convict him anyway. But that's how bad this country is, that a man literally got framed. He literally was on national television. It literally came out that he got framed, and niggas did not know what the verdict was going to be. And when and I'm talking about niggas didn't know. Black folks, yeah, they see us as niggas. We did not know what the verdict was going to be. And the crazy part was neither did the white folks. and it came out in front of all of us that he was clearly framed. Now, how do we not know what the verdict gonna be? And he framed, and the system actually worked.
Because two things were true at the same time. One, the white folks knew it wasn't enough evidence after seeing it on national TV, and the black folks knew we wasn't getting no free trial, wasn't getting no a fair trial. Those two things were true at the same time on national TV. And like Dennis Green said, you had him on the hook and you let him go.
And that's why I'm saying, honestly, his verdict was one of the greatest days in American history. Because it showed you that the system could work, which is nice to know that it actually can work. But it also showed you this how white people really get down. I don't care who you think you are. I don't care what level you rise to. I don't care if they put you as the pitch man of their products. In their mind, you still a nigga. That's all you ever gonna be. And to the day you die, that's how we gonna see you. You still a nigga. I ain't saying there ain't no good white person out there. What I'm saying is that is the collective viewpoint of white people. You can do everything you need to do to make them happy. You can help them make money. You help them sell jerseys. You help them sell products. You help them sell services. But at the end of the day, you still just a nigga. And because you a nigga, of course you kill a random white woman. Not only that, you would kill your own wife or ex-wife, however you looking at it. Why? Because she's a white woman and you a nigga. So you a threat no matter what. And America said, you know what? I just can't accept that this nigga wouldn't do her wrong. He got money. He a star. He's recognizable. But he's still a nigga, so he would have to do her wrong. And I'm just going to say, y'all, because I'm going to bring it to a close, and I didn't say everything I wanted to say. Real talk. This what happened when you look. This is what happens when you look for a white man to protect you. Shout out to Ron Goldman for protecting his woman. the best he knew how, while being a black man at the same time. You know, I don't know what that's about, y'all. I don't get that part. I don't know what's that about. Why you're a black belt, bro? You can't beat up OJ with the bad knees. But any final statement you want to make, Floyd, before I close this down?
Happy OJ Day. Thanks for having me, Raj.
Kevin, any last word before I shut this down?
Man, I just remember collectively all these white folks thinking in their mind, the juice is loose.
Hang that nigga now. Any last words?
It doesn't matter how much money you got, you're still just a nigga.
Y'all, we got I hit the wrong button, but we got a brother coming up, y'all. We got Inspired Truth broadcast.
All right, all right. Well,
You have the first word and the last word. Heck, a middle word too. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got first and the last. Like, look at this as a teachable moment, a lesson here. Like, you had Johnny Cochran in there. He's right there behind OJ there. Consider this as food for thought. Like, one of the big major accomplishments of Johnny's life was getting Geronimo Pratt off. Not just OJ, but getting Geronimo Pratt free after 27 years in prison for a murder that he didn't commit. So it's a darn good thing that this wasn't the fate of OJ, where he had to end up spending like half of his life in jail. That's what we're going to think about. That's what we ought to take as food for thought.
And I'm gonna say shout out to the Simpson family, man. Real talk, your daddy ain't do that. I ain't gonna never believe your daddy did that. You know, because obviously ain't nobody got evidence to prove your daddy did that. So I don't know what y'all think, because they done spent millions of dollars trying to get everybody to believe that your daddy did something that he clearly didn't do. Your daddy ain't do that, man. Real talk. So shout out to all these kids out there, whatever grandkids he got. Granddaddy didn't do it, y'all. He didn't do it. Real talk. If you're new to this channel, make sure you subscribe. We do this Monday through Friday. I appreciate everybody who came up. Appreciate the folks who who came through with the cash apps. Y'all have a great and wonderful weekend. Long live the habitual line steppers. I'm Roger. I'm right. And I'm out.